Hi, welcome back to lesson 2 on how to create polymer clay cookie cutters in Fusion 360. That made no sense. Polymer clay cutters and cookie cutters in Fusion 360. So lesson 1 was just a very basic, get a basic circle cutter made. I hope you were able to do that. Any questions, let me know, let me help you troubleshoot. But we're going to carry on building on the foundations that we've learned last week. So this week there's going to be two main topics that we cover. It's going to be resizing and also fillets as well. So let's click top to get a bird's eye view. Let's create sketch and let's click this button. Now, because we're looking at resizing, I am going to make a shape that is bigger than what I want. I tend to work when I'm making my cutters at about a 10 centimetre largest dimension shape, just because that does make for easy maths further down the line. There is other ways to do it that we'll do in more advanced lessons. But for now, let's make a 10 by 10 centimetre square. So if you want to pop that in, so 10 centimetres at the top, 10 centimetres at the bottom. Perfect. So I'm going to pan that over because I want that to the side, and I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hit the escape key. Okay, so we've got our basic shape. We are going to want to make 4 sizes of this today. So I'm going to click create and I'm going to put a text box. You don't need to do this, it's just for a little note what shapes that we're agreeing. So we're saying we're going to make a 6 centimetre shape, a 5 centimetre shape, a 4 centimetre shape, and a 2 centimetre shape, just so I can remember easily what size I'm making. Now, we can certainly go, especially with a shape this simple, and make, 6 centimetre shapes, 5 centimetre shapes, 4 centimetre shapes, 2 centimetre shapes with little to no effort. However, this resizing that I'll be showing you is going to be very helpful on more intricate designs or ones that aren't pre-built shapes in Fusion 360. So we're going to use a select option here. It is a window select that we will be using for this lesson today. There will be times in future lessons we'll be using the freeform, but you can see the window selection has a keyboard shortcut of 1. So select 1 on my keyboard, click and drag and highlight it all, let go of my mouse, and this shape is highlighted. Perfect. I'm going to right click on it. Now I can either click copy or I can Control C on my keyboard. I'm going to click off that. Now you can either right click and you can paste it, or keyboard shortcuts of Control V, and that has copied the square directly on top of the original. So I'm going to move this over to the side. So it's got a nice 2 centimetre gap. Perfect. And I'm going to pan over to give myself a little bit more room. I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to click, drag, so it's all covered. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Pull that over. Now I have 2 shapes, and then I'm going to select them both because I'm going to be making 4. So I've covered them all. Control C, Control V. There we go. So I'm going to be turning this one into my 6 centimetre, this into my 5, this into my 4, this into my 2. Let's make it a little bit more centre. So we're going to again click, drag, highlight, let go. This is a shape. So we're going to use the modify section, the scale. So that is a keyboard shortcut of W. Okay, so I'm going to hit the W button on my keypad. Let's get rid of this for a minute. Right, highlight, W. Now, it's asking what point should be the point that remains. So I'm going to select this bottom corner, and it's going to bring up a box. If I wanted this to be a 20 centimetre cutter, I would just say make it 2 times the size. If I wanted it to be 5 centimetres, make it 0.5, half the size. So on this case, I want it to be 0.6, and it's a 10 centimetre shape. So I can either do 0.6, because 0.6 of 10 is 6, or I could say 6 out of 10, and they would make 6 centimetres. Again, with this one, W, select a point. And again, because this is half the size, I could do a fraction of half, could do 0.5, I could say 5 out of 10 centimetres, and they will all make a 5 centimetre cutter. If for any reason I wanted it to select from a different point, I could just add in a little point and say, I want here to be my point of where you resize from. So select all of this, W, and I want you to be my point of where you resize from. This is 4 centimeters, so 0.4. And select this one, W, I want you to move from this point, 0.2. These are my shapes. I'm going to move this one up a little, just so it's a bit more in line with everything else that's happening. Perfect. So we're going to start off with a 6 centimeter square here. So we're going to zoom in, and for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be flipping back and forth in the ways that we went over on lesson 1 on how to do cutters. I won't be doing each and every step, but we will start off by doing a 0.7 cutter for this square, 6 centimeter square one. So I'm going to hit O, and it's going to set the offset in the middle, if not in the middle, inside the shape, which I don't want. I want the wall on the outside of the shape. I can either use this flip button and it flips it there, or I can just pop in a minus, and there we go. Oh, I did that wrong. I said it's going to be a 0.7, so O for offset, minus 0.7, there we go. And then O for offset, minus 3. That is a handle. Let's extrude this. So remember, let's click Finish Sketch. You can either use this or the extrude button. There we go. And remember, once you've done your first extrusion, the sketch does disappear, but don't worry. Click the sketch, click the eyeball, and there we go. That's come back up. We're going to do the handle. That is 3 centimeters. Perfect. So that is the first one done. Let's click Save. I've already got my folder set up of where I'm going to save it into lesson 2. So this is a 0.7 6 centimeter square. Right, so we're going to go back and add our sketch offsets for the next one. So right click on Sketch, Edit Sketch. So for this one, we'll be doing a 0.44 sharp edge cutter. So we're going to do O for offset, and then minus 0.44, O for offset, minus 1, because that's our support wall, O for offset, minus 3. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do our extrusion. So again, this extrude here, or E for extrude. This is 12 millimeters tall, E for extrude, E for extrude, 10, E for extrude, 3. Now on this one, I'm going to work a little bit different. When handling clay cutters, your hands are all over them. With anything with corners, normally of less than 90 degrees, if you are handling, it could possibly hurt your hand a little. So we're going to add some rounding to these corners, so a fillet option. So I'm going to use a pan tool, the orbit tool, to look at these little corners here. So if you go to modify, if you go to fillet, it's a keyboard shortcut of F. So F. Now I can either go and select all of them, or I can do them one at a time. But once I enter a number value in, it won't then let me add any more until I've committed to that one. So that one has now changed to a rounded corner. And then I'm going to go to the F again. I'm selecting this little corner here, this little corner, this little corner, and making them all 1 millimeters. So this means it's got nice rounded corners here, and it's going to be easier to handle. What some people like to do as well is add fillets to these edges here. Now, your hands don't overly touch these too much, so it is personal preference. It does sometimes look aesthetically pleasing as well. But again, if you were to use the F, if you were to select that, you could add a rounding to there. You could also add a rounding here. So let me show you. We have to do each edge of this simply because is not got a curved corner, so it's recognising each one is separate. There we go. Let's go to top. Perfect. I'm not committing to it yet because I want to go into it, and that's not nice and tidy. Let me rotate. There we go. So if I did it to that corner, it would give it this nice slope in. So this one has some nice curved finishes. Now, one thing I would be aware and be careful of is adding it to this corner. So this is where your hands are mostly going to be when using cookie cutters, because you'll be pressing down on this side. If you fillet this too much, there may be adhesion issues to the printer bed. So if you are going to fillet it, I would give it a very small fillet, so like a 0.3. So it's got a nice sounding, but you're not losing too much surface area, and it's not too sharp. It's not something, like, again, personal preference, it's not something I do on mine. I'll only tend to fillet my sharp corners. I don't tend to do this edge filleting or that edge filleting. If that's something that you wish to do, go for it. But let's get back to orientated nicely. We have now done this one, so save as sharp edge. 5 centimeter square. Okay, so I'm going to show you another way now. So we're going to go back to sketch, create, edit, sketch. So O for offset, and this one we're going to do as a chamfer edge. So a -1, and then a -3. What we're going to do here, we're going to add sketch fillets. Okay, so go to modify in your sketch, and you got a fillet here. Now I have set myself a custom keyboard shortcut. It doesn't come with one. To add a custom keyboard shortcut, if you click this, click change keyboard shortcut and pick whatever you would like to remember. Because filleting on a physical object is F, that's why I've gone with a Shift F, just because they both fillet, but one works in sketch, one works in the physical modes. One works in physical modes, one works in sketch. So anyway, I have kind of set that, so it's now a Shift F. So if I do Shift F, and I want to fillet this corner, so I only want to give it a little edge, and by all means I can select multiples. So I'm going to make it 1 millimeters. I can select multiples if I want, and I could do them all. In certain cases, it may not recognize it's a corner, so I'm just going to press Shift F. So you may need to select the 2 walls instead of the corner, but otherwise if it allows a corner, that makes it easier. Right, and there we go, we have that one done. So we're going to extrude this 12, extrude this 3. Okay, and then orbit. So we're going to chamfer, and we're going to make sure each of these edges are selected. Because it's not a circle, it's not like one continuous line, you've got to make sure all your edges are selected. So it is 1 millimeter, but we want it at 0.4, so 0.56. And I think on the circle we said a 5 millimeter cut was nice. Perfect, you can see that. There we go. Let us save this version as well. Last time I couldn't spell chamfer when I was typing it. Now I can't spell square. Oh gosh. Right, that is saved. Now, what I tend to do when I'm making mine, I will actually add the fillets to my reference shape. Let me show you now. So I'm going to go to Edit Sketch, and I'm going to delete this for a minute. And I'm going to go and make tiny little fillets to these corners, and you will see why in a minute. So Shift F, and I'm going to make it 0.1. Makes that 1.1, that 1.1, that 1.1. Okay, let me just save that. And oh, I didn't want to finish the sketch. So the reason for this is because I tend to use one reference sketch and then resize it, because when I'm making my designs, I'll tend to offer them in multiple sizes. It puts a rounded corner on any sharp corners from the get-go. So we're just going to copy and resize this twice. And I'm going to make this one 4 centimeters like this one above. So 0.4, and then this one 2 centimeters. Okay, so if I zoom into this corner, so this is not going to be visible to the naked eye. So when you're making a, cutter, you're cutting into your polymer clay or cookie, because this is such a small curve, to the naked eye, it is still going to look like a sharp corner. However, when I set an offset, so -1, you will see that this offset has curved too, and then -3, and this one has a nice curve as well. So what that means is if I'm making, for example, a square, it's a very basic shape. You might want little studs from it. You might want to make coasters, which are 10, 12 centimeters. So you could be making a dozen different sizes. Instead of having to fillet the corner of a dozen different sizes, if I do it on my initial sketch, it's going to be one step less on every other one. So again, offset, -1, offset, -3. And again, see, nice curved corner. So on this, we're going to make the cutter how I would make my sharp edge cutters. So I go to Surface, Extrude here, 12. Now, this one, I do apologise, I kind of have had it so long, I forgot my thicken on lesson 1 was a keyboard shortcut I had put in. So just to recap then, I have Shift T as my keyboard shortcut. I did wipe it just before this lesson, but add your keyboard shortcut in. So Shift T, click OK. So now Shift and T will always work. So 0.44, extrude, 10, join. I'm going to make a deliberate mistake on the next extrusion. I'll show you why, because this is an error that may sometimes come up. So click E, 3. Instead of join, which will automatically happen, I'm going to set it as a new body. What that will basically mean is it recognises these two walls are one shape, and then this is another, and it's saying that they're not one physical body together. So if I was to save this, it would not have the handle attached. So if you ever find yourself in a position where it's kind of split the two bodies for whatever reason, so you select Tool, drag, pull, in Solid, click Combine. You can see the two bodies are highlighted here as well, but click Combine, and it's already got them because you've selected them before. If you hadn't selected them before, you would just go in and click them, and there you go. And it has made it one body. So save as mesh, sharp edge, 2 centimeter square. And there we go. So just a quick recap. We have covered resizing, how to scale. We will be doing more complex rescales down the line, especially with shapes that aren't 10 centimeters on your design, how to calculate them. We've gone through how to fillet, so fillet on a physical body, the corners where you handle, whether you want to do it to the edge, and be careful on the printing bed side. And if you want any aesthetic fillets as well, that can possibly add a bit of strength to it as well. So there is an argument for that. And then how to fillet on a sketch before you start building the bodies. And then the pros of adding your fillets to your reference sketch. So all resizes and all copies have that built in. So it's one less step to do later on. If you've got any questions, pop a comment down below. If there's anything that you would like to see as well, please let me know and I'll try to build it into a future lesson. The next few lessons are still going to be basic. Cookie cutter, polymer clay cutter lessons. We're not yet at the stage where we're looking at doing imprints and stuff like that, because there's so many tools in Fusion. We don't want to quite go to the deep end as of yet. We will do it one step at a time. If you do want to see some of my designs that I do actually sell, because I do sell digital designs for you to buy and 3D print yourself, my link for my Cult 3D shop will be in the description below. Feel free to have a look. If there's any that you particularly like that you do want to maybe recreate in a video, or you'd like me to talk you through the design process on a video, then by all means drop a comment below. I'd like to know what you'd like to see as well. But there's going to be certain ones that we definitely will be doing in the future, is how to do, cutouts as well. So for example, a square with a square hole, how to do imprints as well, how to do bridges, how to strengthen any large cutters. So we'll be doing all that with you. But let me know what you'd like and we'll take it from there. But for now, that is lesson 2. I will see you next time and you take care. Bye.